Yo, welcome back to the show. Fandom, frequency, entertainment, baby, pop culture, all up in this thing. We cover every corner of the fandom multiverse: movies, TV, anime, albums, music in general. Whatever you want to talk about, we talk about it here. Before we move any further, drop a comment, man. If you're watching on the YouTubes, click that subscribe button, guys. It really does help the show tenfold, and you get to be a part of a great, positive fandom community. But y'all seen the thumbnail. You know exactly what we're talking about today. Stranger Things, Season 4, Part Uno. It's here. It just dropped this past weekend, I should say, and a lot of anticipation. We had a just under 3 years wait for this thing. And to give some of you new viewers a little bit of background on myself as a Stranger Things fan, I have been a fan of Stranger Things since season 1, since the inception in 2016. I actually didn't know much about the series when it first dropped. I saw it was on Netflix. It had a Stephen King, Steven Spielberg vibe is what I was hearing, and what the YouTube ad was even saying. And I was like, okay, this looks cool. Horror, sci-fi, I'm into it. Let's check it out, right? I haven't really watched much TV at that point. I don't watch tons of TV now. I watch more than I did back then. But back then, I hadn't really watched any full-on live-action TV shows in full, really. I checked out a little bit of The Flash on CW back in its early days, stuff like that. But overall, I hadn't really gotten into TV series as much, so I checked this one out, and from episode 1, right in the beginning, when Will gets taken by the Demogorgon, and we didn't know that at the time, I was like, I'm in on this show. Let's go. Let's do this thing. You know what I'm saying? And from there on, I have been a huge fan of this series. I love season 2. I love season 3. If I had to pick my favorites, or like how I'd kind of rank them, you'll have to wait for that, because we got recaps / reviews coming for the first 3 seasons, I should say, of Stranger Things 1, 2, and 3. It's going to be hitting you guys all month long, leading up to Stranger Things Season 4, Part 2. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that. So we're going to get into all my thoughts and revisit the first 3 seasons for sure. But just know, I love them all regardless. And coming into this one, I did have sky-high expectations. I gotta be real, man. I was trying to temper my expectations the whole time, but after a while, man, I was just giving into the hype. Like, this has got to be one of, if not the best seasons of Stranger Things. It's been 3 years. Come on, Duffer Brothers. What do you got for me? And what did they have for us? Fucking excellence. I love this season from top to bottom. I have very few nitpicks and negative things to say about this season. They really stepped up their game, man. With this new inflated budget that Netflix gave them to do this season, and the way that they wrote the script into 800 pages and really wanted to go balls to the wall, man. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to go full on and take it to the highest heights they could take this thing and be as ambitious as possible. And I gotta say, it fucking paid off, dude. Visually, from the production level of this show, it is top notch. It looks like a fucking movie, man. 99% of the CGI looks fantastic. Even better than some of the last couple MCU films, if I'm gonna be real. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that was bad CGI in the MCU, but definitely not as super on point as things in the past, such as Guardians Volume 1 or Infinity War and Endgame, for example. This right here, the Duffer Brothers just totally outdone themselves, man. Sound design, the score itself, similar, but new and fresh, and bringing some different vibes into the show. Even the needle drops on the soundtrack tip are some of the more under the radar 80s songs. It's not the kind of surface level mainstream big pop hits like they kind of leaned on in the first 3 seasons, where they've always had their deep cuts sprinkled in there, but this one really has that. Like the main song they're using throughout the season to help Max get away from Vecna, the Kate Bush song, running up that hill or running down that hill or something like that. That track right there I had never heard before, and they use that as kind of like Max's theme and kind of a big dramatic theme in this season, and it was just very well done and well placed, and I actually like the song. So what do you know? So get to learn some new 80s culture right there, man. But moving on from there, when you're talking about the characters and the story, Chef's fucking kiss. Mwah. Fucking great, man. The whole thing with Eleven having to gain back her powers, like we saw at the end of season 3, it looked like the Mind Flayer took that shit. So what's going to happen with that, right? Well, we start off with 11 in Lenora Hills, California, with the boy Will. You know what I'm saying? Living with Jonathan, Will, and Joyce. Now that she's kind of their adoptive sister, going under the name Jane at their new high school, and she's dealing with some bully issues and things like that. You know, the typical teen angst, the typical teen drama. She's writing letters to Mike all the time. She misses him very dearly. It's been about a year almost since the attack at the Starcourt Mall in 85, or July 4th, 4th of July, I should say, 1985. We're picking up in spring of 1986. So it's been almost a year. She hasn't seen Mike, most importantly, or any of her friends back in Hawkins. And it's been a minute. And going from there with her, Mike coming to visit, her getting bullied and having to deal with that, and kind of trying to front in front of Mike, and Will's like, hey, man, you don't need to lie to our boy like that. Just tell him the truth. You know what I'm saying? And there's some interesting things going on with Will that we'll get into in a bit. But, yeah, just love everything with that. Just the whole regular teen stuff. And then shit hits the fan in Hawkins. Vecna's running ape shit. And now the government's coming after her saying, hey, you're fucking dangerous. You must be causing this shit. Get over here. I want you right now. So now she has to get her powers back, and she gets Owen, Dr. Owens, played by the great legend himself, Paul Reiser, from Aliens fame and many things like that, coming back from season 2. Haven't seen him in a minute. But Dr. Owens is approached by the government to get 11 to join them. And as we find out a little bit later, Dr. Brenner at this Project Nina facility to unlock her powers, go back into her past, Cerebro style, and face the traumatic memories that she has locked away in her mind as a security measure, like all human brains do. Went through some crazy shit, as we know, at the Hawkins lab in her past, and she blocked out some very crucial memories, man. Some very crucial information. And it all plays into that first 8-minute opening sequence in the beginning of the season here, where you see a complete massacre has taken place at the Hawkins lab. Every other kid in the program is dead. They have been fucked up and taken out, guards, all of that. And you go through the hallway with Dr. Brenner after he wakes up after getting a door thrown at him. He wakes up, goes to the Rainbow Room after looking around for a bit, and realizes, oh shit, 11, what have you done? And you see 11 sitting there with blood draining from her eyes, covered in blood on her gown, everyone dead around her. And that makes you think, what the fuck? Did 11 go on a Michael Myers killing spree? God damn. Shouldn't she be in trouble for that? I mean, I love 11, but damn. But we find out later, everything ain't what it seems, obviously, as we get more into the big twist. Wink, wink. And if you haven't figured it out by now, major spoilers. So if you haven't watched the show and have been watching up to this point, last warning, spoiler alert, y'all. But anyway, yeah, I just love that whole thing. 11 having to go back into her past to discover her powers and discover those traumatic memories that she locked away in her mind in the deepest depths of it was so fantastic. Getting to meet the orderly, a.k.a. One, a.k.a. Henry fucking Creel, a.k.a. Vecna. That whole fucking reveal right there. We're going to get into the freaking twist right off the jump. My God. The vecna twist is brilliant. That was the first kid in the program, number one, of course. And it's all tied back to the Creel house, where he discovered his abilities and went a little psycho and started killing off his family members. His dad was thinking, it's a motherfucking demon up in here. The town's cursed. Something's going on. And I just lost my kids. And now they lock me up for murdering my family. Come to find out, his son was doing it the whole fucking time. Got taken into the Hawkins lab by Brenner, made him think, Victor Creel as in him, that is, played by the great Robert Englund, by the way, making him think his son died in a coma. When he didn't, he went to go create a whole new experiment out of him, coining him the first kid in the program. And once he realized he couldn't control him and control his abilities, they put a little thing in his neck to sedate his abilities and recreated 10 other versions of this program, including our girl 11. So, wow, holy shit, man. So now we know superpowers do exist in this world. We just don't know what the origin of it is, but it's kind of X-Men kind of vibes right there. And then we also find out that that after Henry Creel was locked up, blah, 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 11, all this stuff, he meets 11, sees the potential in her, and wants her to join him in his sick agenda to cleanse the world of us humans. And then when he reveals his whole entire plot and information to her, when he makes it seem like he's trying to help her escape wholeheartedly, not to do this crazy fucked up shit, he goes and kills all the kids in the program. So it wasn't 11 the whole time like we thought leading up to episode 7, and like 11 thought leading up to episode 7, because she blocked out all the stuff around it. He's the one that did that. Number 1 is the one that killed off every other kid in that program except the lost sister 8 that we met in season 2, and 11, of course. So they're the last 3 remaining members. They have a big old confrontation. Luke, Palpatine, Return of the Jedi type vibe right there. And wow, that whole sequence and reveal and the whole way that he's kind of expositioning, dumping all this information on us, where Nancy fell into the upside down vecna dream world thing, and she's seeing it at the same time. 11 is in Project Nina, rediscovering all these events and recontextualizing everything we saw in season 1 leading to now. So it's just so well fucking written, dude. The only question I have about this whole vecna reveal, because once 11 fights back and kind of blows him to smithereens, it looks like, into ashes, it kind of looks like he did to the Demogorgon in season, or like she did to the Demogorgon in the end of season 1, she sent him and opened a portal inadvertently to the Upside Down for the first time, and sent him there where he was turned into Vecna by the Mind Flayer, I would assume. So where has he been from seasons 1 to 3? Has he been around? Did the Mind Flayer need to take out other people and bring victims to get him powerful enough to do this? Or what? What's the deal with that? That's the only question I have with Vecna and this whole reveal stretching in through these last 4 seasons of Stranger Things, and how it's all going to tie up in part 2. How does that work? Where have you been at, bruh? But, other than that, such a well-written explanation overall. Love the reveal. Sort of a twist within a twist, M. Night Shyamalan style, except the Duffer Brothers actually pulled it off and it makes sense. Love it, man. And going through the rest of the characters, dude, you have Robin, Nancy, Steve, our new boy, Eddie Munson. I gotta get this guy's name real quick, man. Eddie Munson. I love this new character of Eddie Munson. He's kind of the new, metalhead, geek kind of character that's really cool friends with Dustin, Lucas, and Mike back in Hawkins. And they're a part of a little group they call the Hellfire Club. And if you haven't noticed, I got my boy's vest right here. Shout outs to Hot Topic, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so Eddie Munson, man, this new character, I got to get this guy's name. First thing that comes up on Google. I'm telling you, this guy's blowing up right now. What is his name? Give me the name. God damn it, Google. I got to get this guy's name. You got to know. I got to tell the people. Joe Quinn. Love this guy. He has complete Robert Downey Jr. vibes and then some. I love this character. And the whole thing with him getting blamed for the murder of this girl named Chrissy Carpenter, I believe, that's dating the high school jock or whatever, and he gets blamed for the murder, as we know Vecna did it, and he gets blamed for it and has to go on the run, and Dustin and the gang got to clear his name from the police so that way he could be a free man again. And he's running around trying to hide from the jocks the whole time. But I just loved his comedic nature and the charisma he was bringing to the role. And he just fit right in like a glove, man. And he really is truly my new favorite character. Like, as a new character's introduced, he's my favorite one of the new crop of characters, Robin in a close second. But he has to team up with Robin, Steve, and Nancy to go and try to figure out what the hell is going on with Vecna, Victor Creel, how is it all connected, what the hell is going on, because Vecna is fucking people up, big time, dude. And I love all the Freddy Krueger vibes with this guy. I love how it's like a mixture of Pennywise, Pinhead, and Freddy Krueger mixed with a little bit of that Duffer Brothers style, which creates a whole new villain in and of itself. And I just love that, man. And they got to team up to try to take him out. And I love the dynamic with Nancy kind of being like Lois Lane or some shit in this season, going into investigation mode and trying to figure out what the hell is going on with all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And the way that her character is left off at the end, getting the reveal of Vecna, going into his little mind realm or whatever, where does that leave her? Because he's fucking with her as he does with all his victims, because he fucks with them due to their guilt of something from their past to try to psychologically break them down in order to strike and kill them. So very Pennywise, Freddy Krueger type stuff right there. And Nancy obviously feels guilty about the past in season 1 when her best friend Barb got killed when she was up there trying to get laid or whatever. And really, Barb wasn't even supposed to be there. She didn't want to go. So if Nancy would have just went herself and not forced Barb to go, she'd probably still be here, you know? So all that guilt that's been inside of Nancy this whole time that you really felt strongly in season 2 when they were going into the investigation of where is Barb and justice for Barb and all that stuff. Once that came through, bam. So I just love the way that they did that with Nancy, where they did leave her off in such an interesting place that definitely made up for her not getting the most character development as opposed to some of the other characters throughout the season. But overall, man, very well done and very well executed stuff there. Loved her teaming up with Robin and their whole dynamic, going to go visit Victor Creel, once again, played by the great Robert Englund, who came in this thing and swung for the fucking fences, man. I ain't seen a performance out of this man like that in years. So much love to my boy Robert Englund, man. Love you. Can't wait to see what else you do in the horror genre, my man. Hate we had to see you go already in Stranger Things, but it was great to get you in here, man. And it was cool to get an 80s icon playing up 80s tropes. Awesome stuff. And when it comes to Will and Mike and their whole friendship and their kinship together as best friends, and the whole way that that comes together in the season when they got to team up, get away from these agents that are on their tail to try to figure out where the hell 11 is, you get some straight up Red Dawn vibes with that storyline. And I remember at first when I was watching it, I wasn't really loving the Will, Jonathan, Mike stuff as much. I thought it was just kind of like, whatever. You know, but once we got into all that, where they had the agents come and kind of have him on house arrest, and they're trying to get out of there and leave, and then everything just hits the fan, Red Dawn style, and they're chasing after him, trying to shoot these guys and the agent's trying to protect him, and he gets shot, and then they got to team up with the stoner guy that Jonathan met in order to go bury the body and all this other shit. And now they're going to go on a road trip to go meet with Dustin's girlfriend or whatever in Utah, Salt Lake, I believe, Salt Lake City, to go see if she can hack into the computers where 11 is in Project Nina to get her whereabouts so they can go save their girl, you know. But her computer got taken, so she can't even help them with that. But that whole storyline and that road trip, you know, Red Dawn type vibe was so much better than the first half. So definitely love that overall. And what else, man? Am I leaving anything else out, man? I wanted to mention. I love everything with Lucas as well. I love the whole arc of him wanting to step out of the outcast life and wanting to be accepted and popular and with the popular kids and all that stuff. And he starts playing basketball at Hawkins High, and he's pretty damn good. Even gets the 3-pointer to win the game at the end of the big game there. in their tournament, but he doesn't fit in, you know what I'm saying? All the jocks pretty much treat him almost the same as they did before. He just has a slight bit more respect for being on the team and for winning the game, but not too much more. And as we see, once the jocks are all pissed about Chrissy and want to go target Eddie since he's the only known suspect, and they're just going way too crazy with the vigilante justice angle of it, Lucas realizes, I got to get back with my true blue homies and fucking save the day and save our boy Eddie. He's been nothing but good to us. He ain't done nothing wrong. We know there's something else creepy going on here. Let me go help my real friends. So I love that whole arc and his push and pull and conflict with Max being his ex-girlfriend now, that she dumped him after he tried to be a faker over there with the basketball team and all that. And speaking of which, I love the arc with Max as well. Her dealing with grief, her dealing with trauma, her dealing with the guilt of almost wanting Billy to die, almost kind of relieved he's gone, but also grieving the fact that she lost a loved one and hates this feeling she has inside of herself. She's so conflicted, and she just draws into herself and kind of steps away from her friends and just kind of becomes a little bit of a recluse in a way and isn't sharing her feelings, which, as we all know, with mental health is very important to do these days. And from that point on, I just loved everything with Max's character, leading up to her getting possessed by Vecna and that whole Kate Bush moment where she's getting levitated in the air at Billy's grave at the graveyard. And everyone's like, oh shit, Max, oh my God, what are we gonna do? We gotta help her. And then they're trying to walkie-talkie Robin and Nancy. Hey, have you figured it out? Do you know how to stop this thing? I just love that sequence in episode 4, which is one of my standout episodes as well. And just everything with Max's character this season, I thoroughly enjoyed that. Love that whole angle. Being someone that has lost a lot of loved ones in the last few years, has been dealing with grief and all the different stages of it. It really was very refreshing and a very great way to ground all the crazy supernatural stuff that had happened before and is happening now in the series, and to bring it back home and to do what Stranger Things has always done best. Focus on character. It is a show about character and what's going on with their journeys and all that first and foremost. So loved how that continues strongly here. You know, Dustin doesn't get a big arc, normally doesn't, but loved every second of Gaten Mazzaro on screen as Dustin. Who doesn't love Dusty? You know what I'm saying? But man, the season was just so fucking well done. And I will say, I don't think the extended, really long run times dragged out stuff too much. The only thing in that regard that I think it dragged out a little bit, maybe too long, was the Russian plot line with breaking out Hopper from the prison and Joyce and Murray teaming up to go do that. That was the only storyline that I felt wasn't as strong as the others on the half of Joyce and Murray. I loved everything with my boy Hopper and all the stuff that he was talking about with that Russian traitor, I guess you'd say, the guy that was going to help him escape for the money or whatever. I loved all the conversations and dynamics they had back and forth. Very good chemistry. Love Jim Hopper, of course, as a character, so I'm always going to ride or die for him and have some kind of investment and interest in what he's going through in the show. But overall, man, that's the only plot line to me that felt a little dragged out or something that felt like it was a little bloated. But overall, dude, I thought this season and this show was so well paced all throughout the season, and I think having those hour-long and sometimes hour-plus run times for the episodes allowed them to really build out the world, answer a lot of these questions that have been building up for 3 seasons, and really get to the mythology and really make sure that everything was well-rounded and pretty fleshed out as well throughout the season, and also gave more time for characters to just bond, and for there to be some lighter moments, and for there to be some more darker, more dramatic, more introspective type moments as well. And I feel like no character was like super shortchanged in any way. I just felt like a few of the characters didn't have as much defined arcs as some of the others. Not sure if that's really a negative per se. More of a mixed element in my mind, because I feel like every character in some fashion, in one way or the other, has had character development throughout the series. So a few of them not getting as much focus as some of the others in this particular season does make sense to me. And overall, man, I just love the season, man. It is so damn fun to watch, and it really came through with the horror vibes and the gore and the tension and the suspense. All of that really was so well done. I think it's some of the best horror type, horror vibe type stuff they've done on the show entirely overall. Even better than some of the season 1 stuff. And season 1 to me was always the golden standard of the show leading up to this point. So a little bit of a hint for my future ranking there. But yeah, man, I gotta say, if you haven't given Stranger Things another chance because it started off a little slow for you, whatever the case is, you need to give the show another chance. It is fucking fantastic. It is so well done from top to bottom, especially season 4, part 1. Loved all 7 episodes. Can't wait to see what Volume 2 has in store for us. And I can't wait to see Season 5 and how everything culminates and comes together. But for right now, Season 4, Part 1, what are y'all's thoughts about it? I want to know. Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear what you guys think about Stranger Things as a show overall. What you thought about the season. Who are your favorite characters? What are some of your favorite moments? We got a lot of Stranger Things content coming at you guys over the course of this month in June. Like I said, we're doing revisits of the first 3 seasons. We're going to do probably a couple rankings as well, and then we're going to roll right into Season 4, Part 2 when that drops, so we can give you guys the full-on recap for that as well. So make sure you guys don't miss a single dose of dopeness in your feed. Click the subscribe button if you're watching us, and if you're listening on the podcast network, click that download button, share it with your friends and family. Also follow us on Spotify and all these different podcast networks, podcast websites, and if you will, make sure to follow us as well. That really helps the show grow overall. So make sure you click and follow and download. But until next time, guys, stay tuned, don't sleep. Peace.